best? Why is it that when it's raining, it's super awesome? The the sound of the rain, it's beautiful. It's scary, but it's beautiful. Huh. Hey guys, today I want to talk about fear, and it's a very interesting topic. Um, I haven't thought about fear for a long time. I mean, in my life, in my early, I don't know, for 30 years, I wasn't really conscious about fear. And at one point in my life, I started to realize that I'm not making decisions myself in my life, but uh, but my decisions are driven by fear. And to me, that was very interesting to realize. And from that point in time, I think about fear as a second personality that we all have. And clearly, uh, fear is good to have. Fear is something that kept us alive for, I don't know, since humans became humans. I don't know how many years is that. I'm not going into that. But fear made sure that you are not getting eaten alive. So fear is supposed to keep you safe in in nature, and we are the children of nature. So it's a very basic attribute we all have. Um, the interesting part comes into play when we have these very basic human skills which are way deep within. So these are all way below your conscious level. These are like reflexes. Like, if someone throws something at you, you're not going to think about it. You're going to catch it, or you try to catch it. Probably you're going to fail, but your brain will automatically try to catch it without even thinking, because it can hurt you if you're not catching it. So here we have these reflexes, these built-in mechanisms to keep you safe and make sure that you're alive, and take these skills and move them to a world where nature is somewhat secondary, because the city, most people in the modern world live in cities, and not in the woods, not in the forests, not in the jungle, etc. We live in cities. These are artificial places to live. So that means also your surrounding is artificial. That's also true. Uh, Whoa. Okay. It's funny I said it at the beginning of my video that rain can sound scary, and that's what I meant. The thunder. It reminds you that you're nothing. You just here by accident. So you better use your time wisely. Little nobody, little nothing, little piece of shit. That's what this sound was. Like, you can, even if you had your brightest thought ever. I mean, I'm not saying I have it now, but just it reminds you that, okay, if you thought you're a shit, you're not. Like, that's something, okay. And by the way, even the thunder is almost nothing compared to the universe or the time, but still, compared to us, it's the God. Okay, so where was I? Um, so fear is something that we have, and fear is with us for a reason. It's a survival mechanism, but if you move this survival mechanism, which served us very well for millions of years, and you put it in an artificial context, because not just your physical surrounding is artificial, but also your social constructs are artificial. We somewhat invented the social form that we live in. We invented that we're going to live we're going to live together. I don't know, thousands and millions of us at a one tiny little space, and we're going to share stuff, we're going to use stuff, we're going to, so almost everything is artificial about our life. But so if you take this animal instinct and you put it in this context, then what's going to happen? Because fear is not, fear doesn't know cities, fear doesn't know internet, fear doesn't know media, fear uh, doesn't know that you created this whole artificial world for yourself. But still, fear is here with you. Okay, so what's going to happen? So there are two things that are going to happen. One, don't ever forget what I always keep saying. Humans. So the whole world and whole life is about competition, about battle for survival, battle for resources. This may not appear to you on a daily basis, but it is actually the truth. I always bring up the example of your immune system, even if you're not fighting every single day, or even if you're not thinking about fighting every single day, you still do every single second. Your immune system is battling and fighting 24/7 for you, even when you sleep. It's keeping you alive. All the bacteria, all your surroundings, everything here in this planet, everything as part of nature, trying to consume you, trying to eat you. And this is true even for the bigger scale. It's just not just for the smaller scale, but I think it's a very good example to remind yourself that that's where we are. And because context is very important. So you take this fear, this animal instinct, and you put it into this modern construct of society and the cities and the way we live today. And what's going to happen with fear? So there are two things that's going to happen. Okay, one is that because this competition and this battle also goes at the society levels. By the way, countries are competing, and even at a smaller groups, businesses are competing, and group of people competing, etc., etc. So everybody's competing, and by the way, humans are the smartest in using any means necessary to achieve their goals. Humans are brilliant in that, and by the way, that's why we evolve as a species, because we know how to take resources and put it in our service and put it into our and tame it and use it for our own good. That's humans are amazing in that. By the way, that's pretty much too good in that. Like that's why we overuse the resources. Like we not just take those resources that we necessarily need, but we take everything. Okay, we don't know we don't know any limit whatsoever. The only limit is our imagination, and our imagination is wild. So two things going to happen, because this competition, this battle is also going on at a bigger level, at a team level, at a country level, society level, even class level within a society. There's a battle. There is a competition all the time at your workplace, probably even in your family. Most people even have this at their own family. And because humans are extremely smart on utilizing resources around them for their own advantage, people use fear as well to control other people. This is clear as sky. These are the things that you don't really think about consciously when you grow up. Fear drives you. Fear drives you to certain directions, and fear and that thing that's supposed to keep you safe is now turned against you, because it's very. So the mechanism of fear is very simple. The mechanism is the fear is not a smart thing in you. The fear is about, okay, danger, let's move back. Okay, let's hide. Let's do something. Let's think about it, etc. Let's think twice. So that's the mechanism of fear. Anything that threatens you, fear kicks in, and you start to, self-preservation kicks in, and you start to behave according. And because of this is a very simple mechanism, it's extremely simple to manipulate. And these groups, each and every group is prepared to use this against you. So all these groups in the world are using a fear to control you, and to check you. And the interesting part is that this is something that you don't realize, because it's like breathing. Like you breathe, but you don't realize that you breathe, right? You breathe all the time, 24/7. If you would stop breathing, then you will die. But at the same time, that's the same with fear. You don't realize that you have fear, but it's still managing you all the time and controlling you all the time. So these groups, in order to control you, they will generate situations that will target your fear, and then the fear will keep you checked, and the fear will keep you stay down. Now you will make sure that you're not trying to think outside of the guaranteed context that is expected of you. So yeah, this is important. This is extremely very important that you have to be. So back to my original point, when I realized that, then that was the point when I was like, okay, from that point in time, I will consider my fear as a secondary person in me, who also individually and separately capable of making decisions. But it's very, very, very important that fear is not you. Fear is just an extension of you, even though it's capable of making individual decisions, uh, which can take control of your own decisions. Um, it's not you. It's not your personality. So what I'm trying to get is that it's extremely important that you are conscious about your fear. And whenever you have to start listening to your fear, you have to understand, you have to separate your own reasonable thinking of what I want to do, and then you have to realize, okay, these are the thoughts here that are just coming from fear. They have no foundation, they have no basis, or their bases are way, 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 way far fetched. So we should not, these are overvalued, and we should check those and take them under control. So this is extremely important to manage and learn along your life, that you learn how to consciously listen to your fear, realize that which thoughts you have are coming from reason, and which is most likely your personality, and which thoughts are coming from simply from fear. And those that are coming from fear, I'm not saying dismiss them, but make sure that the level of control of those thoughts are limited by you. So don't let your fear drive you. That's basically that's the short conclusion that I want to make. Don't let fear drive you. Always make sure that you are the one who's at the driving seat, and not fear. I know I have. It's unbelievable to see. And by the way, why fear is a very weird, bizarre human skill we have is because, first of all, there are two things I want to point out about fear. One is that is extremely easy. Fear doesn't need any uh, physical evidence that something is happening or something is threatening you. So fear doesn't have to be. It does not require any physical object. It does not require anything from this world to kick in and start to pull you back. Fear can work based on virtual things. Fear can work together with your imagination, and you can hear words that are completely nonsense and out of this world, and because your imagination just kicks in, and combine your imagination with fear, even the illest, most bizarre things can drive you toward having fear. Fear, and so even illusionary nonsense things can make you fear. Um, this is one. So it's a very, very easy attribute to exploit because of this. Because anyone who wants to control you through your fear, all they have to do is to come up with a stupid story that is somewhat relatable to you. And we humans, we have so many common things that we can relate to. Like we all fear so many things of the common things like death and starvation and diseases and losing someone who we love, etc., etc. There are so many things that they can use. So this is one. It doesn't require much resource to use your fear against you. All it takes is a good story. This is one. And second is, I want to point out is that fear, uh, the the level of fear is unlimited. There is no reasonable scale of your fear. There is no reasonable point where after you just look at it and you say, "Oh, okay, this fear of I have appears to be too much," because it's like, okay, so now this fear I have is about 25, and typically beyond 5 and 7, fear usually unreasonable. We don't have that. We cannot quantify fear. And because of this, fear can go through the roof and without even realizing that, okay, now this is out of ordinary. This is something beyond human, and I should stop listening to this now because this is extreme. There is no such thing because you don't know your self-conscious that much. You don't know your fear. You don't know your reactions. You cannot quantify your fear level. And because of this, let's separate the useful fear. Okay, is like, okay, I'm not going to step in front of that truck because that will kill me immediately. Okay, that's a useful fear. I don't want to die, so I'm not going to go there. That's a very simple fear. But if there's a complex fear that is presented to you, this fear level can be 10 times larger, 20, or even 100 times larger. And that means you cannot really differentiate the two. Even though the first one will stay you alive, it will keep you alive, which is a reasonable thing to do, and the second can basically cripple you. It will cripple your because your all your decisions will, because the second fear is so huge, so tremendous, that each and every decisions of yours will be impacted by it, and that can cripple you. Okay, you at one point in your life, if you all your decisions or most of your decisions. But by the way, if you like losing your job, that's just such a stupid fear to have, even though it's reasonable because at a very small scale it makes sense. But don't let it control you. Okay, you have to be brave enough. You have to believe in yourself. You have to go out and give a damn. If your reason tells you to quit your job and look for another one or start your own business, go for it. Go for it. Check your fear. Okay, tell this is not my decision. I understand the signal that the fear is sending to me. I'm processing it, but it's not going to take control of my thought process. It's not going to take control of my original intent and my thoughts. So yeah, that's the second reason why fear is extremely embarrassing, because the level is just something we cannot quantify, we cannot compare. So it's very easy to spend even years within fear. Years. I know people, actually a friend of mine who I think is fairly intelligent. And by the way, this is also interesting. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter. Like there is no. You cannot overstep your own shadow. And you are. I mean, by the way, I think to some extent you can, but most of the time, 99% of the time, you cannot. And it requires a very special, dedicated way of life to do that. But anyway, that will be another video. So I know this person who is a friend of mine. He's super intelligent. He's good. He's good at so many things, and most of his decisions on a daily basis are driven by fear. It's just I think it. I am convinced that actually that's his that's his that's his obstacle in life. His primary obstacle is himself. He's afraid to do anything. And his potentials are amazing. Anyway, that's what I wanted to. Oh, that was a okay. That became a pretty long video. But again, so let me sum up what I was trying to tell you. So fear is a useful thing, but it's very important that let's consider fear as your second personality, who is able to make individual decisions independently of yourself. And fear is not you. Fear, you have your own personality. You have fear. Let's consider these as like a second personality and use fear. Okay, you realize which thoughts are coming from fear and which thoughts are coming from your personality, the reasonable one, and use fear as your advisor, but realize that, but don't give control to fear. Okay, you have to keep control and use fear as an advisor, and whatever your fear tells you, use it to think about it and process the information, and then make you the decision, not let the fear make you the decision instead of you. Okay, guys, that was it. I wanted to talk about. It's a very interesting topic. I'm trying to live my life according to this. So far, I think it helped me through in very bizarre things in my life, things that might sound scary to other people. Not, don't think anything big. It's just we have so many fears that we are pretty much extremely limited in, even basic things like, for example, social anxiety, where it comes from, right? We don't want to look stupid, etc. So there are so many things which are driven by fear, but you can definitely beat all of them, because you're supposed to be the personality, and fear is supposed to be your extension, not the other way around. Just don't forget that, guys. Okay. All right, that's it, guys, for today. Sendai out.